Across the globe, aging populations are increasingly presenting public health challenges. In sub-Saharan Africa, the demographics, health concerns and self-perception of people in older populations are not well understood as compared to those in high-income countries. In 2018, the University of Cambridge, with Public Health, Geography and Psychology departments, in collaboration with the Infectious Diseases Institute, the Margaret Trowell School of Industrial and Fine Art, and the Statistics Department of Makerere University, conducted a multidisciplinary study to understand aging in Uganda.
This study, which we call Pictures of Aging, was developed for us to appreciate how older persons' experiences are in Uganda. The project had three components. One was what we call the phenotypic component, specifically looking into the physical aspects that occur as people grow older. And the other aspect was a demographics aspect, which was looking more into the numbers of how many people have aged to reach into this category. Then the third aspect of the project was for us to understand how people age, but using art as a form of expression of this aging aspect.
The study combined demographic, phenotypic, social sciences, and artists' methods to understand the picture of aging in Busukuma Division, Nansana Municipality, Wakiso District. An exhibition of artwork produced during the project by established artists and older persons, which was one of the study objectives, was held at Busukuma Division headquarters on September 20th, 2019. It also featured a fashion show of older persons in clothes that they made with help from a fashion designer from Makerere University, as well as singing and dancing displays.
We are very privileged to be able to hear your voices because this day is about you. And today we are here to learn from you what you have liked about the project, what you think we can do better. And so we plan how we can do things moving forward to help the older people of Uganda. So we have a very exciting program today. I really can't wait to see what you are going to show us. And we are very much looking forward from hearing your voices. And it is just to say thank you so much for being on this journey with us.
Various local leaders expressed gratitude regarding the uniqueness of this project, which focused on older people and had a strong community engagement component directly with older persons.
Abakadde balekebwa nnyo emabega. Programs zonna zijja z'abakyala, z'abavuuka, bayambye nnyo abakadde okubeera awamu, bejjukanyiza nnyo ku skills ze balina edda, okulukanga ebibbo, emikeeka n'okuyimba, okwetaba mu bannaabwe. Ekyo kikulu nnyo, kiyamba nnyo omuntu okuba ng'akyakola ki, akyagenda mu maaso.
And you have played a very positive role in terms of not only in helping the health status, but as a study center and area of research. Because in any community where there is no research, the community cannot go further. Research is very important in the day-to-day life, and I appreciate that.
Martin Karumwa, a photographer, and Nikisi Seramaga, a documentary filmmaker, both from 32 Degrees East Ugandan Arts Trust, came up with artistic impressions of what aging meant to the elderly people of Busukuma.
So the task was, from the visits as an artist, to sort of come up with a work of art or a series of works of art that would speak to the experience that the elderly shared with us. A lot of the things that we talked about, good and bad, were a reflection of what it's like for them to exist in this present time and place, and the challenges they face, as well as the what their pastimes are, what they do with themselves. Over that time, I developed this body of work that sort of is multifaceted. It speaks to my concerns about sharing or lending people's imagery to institutions that they have no real agency in.
Two people who I decided to follow are Nachuto and Nanfuka. And I met them actually when our fellow artist in residence, Martin Karungo, was taking portraits of people at one of the community meetings. And they were just super interesting to me right off the bat because I felt like they were just generally interesting people. I liked their energy. So a big part of the conversations that I was having with these ladies revolved around relevance. They really had some practical questions around how do they remain relevant to their communities that they work in order to be able to continue sustaining the livelihoods that they need, because clearly the retirement plans that they are trying to engage on looking at in the way that they had hoped. And so when we were spending a lot of time cooking and working in the house, mikeka came up a lot. There's stacks of mikeka in the sitting room. There's a lot of mikeka in the kitchen that we were sitting on and cooking on. It's just everywhere. And this was one of the mikeka that was like obviously particularly old. And I really wanted to know, how do you take something old and literally transform it so that it can gain new relevance and new usefulness to people in the space.
This same artwork, produced by the elderly and established artists, was also exhibited at the International Day of Elderly Celebrations held in Kumi District in 2019. A presentation on the findings of the project was made at the Interdisciplinary Cambridge Festival in the UK in April 2022. The annual festival covers all aspects of world-leading research happening at Cambridge University. A discussion titled "Pictures of Aging Towards New Avenues of Engaging with Elderly Communities" was held to discuss whether the lessons learned from the study in Uganda could help inform more engaged research practices in the future. In April 2023, a stakeholders meeting was held in Kampala to disseminate the findings of the medical and demographic studies. Dr. Allen Kabagenyi, the demographer on the project, shared what was discovered.
And our team was seeking to understand issues to do with aging, reporting, but also trying to understand from the different perspectives whether we have also other sources that we could use in terms of measurement, but ultimately trying to establish whether the older persons can be able to tell or report age accurately. For those who were educated, had some bit of education, or were able to read and write, were able to report their ages accurately. Certainly, somehow as expected, also those who are not able to read and write were not able to report their ages rightly. And then again, in terms of our population, we noted that we had more women in terms of responses, not because that's what we desired. And of course, like I talked about, the numbers, the statistics, so we went through our scientific rigor. Randomly, we went to those different homesteads looking for the older persons who were falling in the category of aged 60 and above. But one of the interesting things is that most of them were women that we found in these homes. There are very important findings that we got from the age reporting study. I'll speak to two components when you talk about age heaping and age shifting.
In attendance at the meeting was the chairman of the Elders Forum Uganda, Justice James Ogola, who employed the Pictures of Aging Research Consortium to broaden its study and share the results with the different policy makers so that proper solutions could be found to the issues that are affecting elderly people.
But the biggest lessons that I want to address are two. Maybe, just maybe, this project that was done in one place, predominantly rural, I assume, maybe it could be replicated in other places. How about the northern and West Nile regions of Uganda? Would you find the same results? Exactly? Perhaps not. The history of northern Uganda, for instance, the devastation of the war after the War of Luero, is another one that was in the north, has produced enormous differences in the population of that region compared to the populations of the center, the west, and the east. In that revolution, we need the information and the statistics that you have been gathering to help lead the policymakers into going the right direction and making the right decisions.
There are indeed plans to sustain the work that has so far been achieved by the project to benefit the elderly people of Uganda.
The exciting thing is that older persons are willing and still able to learn new things and change the way they do things, rather than the things of saying, for you, your time was finished, you cannot learn anything else. Now, this study challenging that mentality. The next steps for us, the way we work is that the next steps is that to encourage the older person groups in Busukuma to reach out to their neighboring communities so that this practice is spread and upscaled maybe throughout Uganda.
The older persons involved in the project were grateful to the Pictures of Aging team for not leaving them behind and asked the project to continue for the benefit of all elderly people in the country.
Abasawo batusomesezza ne batukolera bagenza batusakinga ne batuwa ebyokukola ne batuyigiriza era tubasanyukidde nnyo beyongere maaso n'emikolo gyabwe.
Kwegamba ekibiina kituwadde amaanyi muli kubanga tuzannyanga abato ne tubuukamu n'entumbwe ne zitagira.
Kyali bantu tukyasobola okwekolera nga ffe tuleme kwefeebya nga ffe abakadde naffe tulina bye tukyasobola okukola taata.
The picture of aging in low-income countries is not one that is familiar or globally known. With this study, the first steps to understanding the elderly in Uganda and their needs have been made.